Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Ravenclaw, back with another guide. You guys have asked me a ton of times to do more resto stuff, and so I thought, why not start with a guide? Now, remember guys, all my guides and everything like that are the way I play, okay? It's not the way that everyone else should play, or, you know, it's not law, so just take it for what it is, and hopefully it helps you guys out. So, before we get started, like all my other guides, on the left hand of the screen there, you'll see a menu. You can skip to whichever part that you guys need, or you can sit back and watch the entire video. Whatever you guys need to do, it is up to you. So, enough talking, let's get into some resto goodness.
You draw me in, and I can't slow down.
Okay guys, let's start off with our talents. Now, level 15 talents, what do I take? It's pretty straightforward. I only take Displace the Beast. Now, why do I take that? Well, simply because it is just a great gap maker. Yeah. It allows you to get away from, you know, bursty melee classes, say like a warrior's pop wreck and all that stuff. It allows you to just get some distance, to be able to get out of line of sight, to get some heals off, and, you know, just so you don't get trained the whole game. Now, I will, later in this guide, I will show you how to use this effectively, but yeah, anyway, Displace the Beast is the WoD I take. Okay, so the next level 30 talents. You've got Ysera's Gift, Renewal, and Cenarian Ward. I basically just leave it on Ysera's Gift because you're constantly healing 4% maximum health every 5 seconds. So that's just a passive heal. It has come in handy. Now, I know people take Cenarian Ward for more bursty classes. I don't seem to do it, but you can take it if you feel that you need it. Now, it's a 30-second cooldown, and what it basically does, it puts a shield on someone. It's not much of a shield, but it puts this protective bubble, and then as soon as they get hit, they get healed for however much it heals. So, as you can see, it's 72,000, but that changes based on your stats, and it goes over 6 seconds. Now, level 45, and this is our crowd control talent section. So, we've got Fury Swarm, Mass Entanglement, and Typhoon. Now, the only two I take here are Typhoon or Fury Swarm. And why is that? That is because it's situational, really. Okay, so let's think of a couple of situations. Why would I take Typhoon? So let's say we're playing on Blade's Edge, and we're up on top of the bridge, and we're playing against a Turbo. Now, what I can do with this is I can position myself in a way that I can actually blow the targets off the bridge. Or say we're in the sewers, you can LOS DPS from the healer the healer from their DPS by hitting them off the edge. Things like that. Now, Fury Swarm, I take to sort of like, what have we got? Maybe jungle or even RMD. So you can put that on the mage, not the mage, sorry, put it on the rogue. Now, Fury Swarm, if you take this talent, it also slows the target. Now, this is great for keeping, say, what have we got? Let's just say there's a warrior training one of your DPS, and you need to allow him to get some distance. You can put that on the warrior, put it on the healer, and keep them on a slow constantly, so that way they can't, keep up with your DPS. But also, putting this on priests, druids, anything else that can basically sort of shift into the shadows, like, you know, any night elves that can sort of shadow meld. It's great for stopping, disc priests getting into that spectral guys, keeping that on them, saves. It's these little things that can help you win the game. So, yeah, that's sort of a basic of why I take it. Now, level 60. This is important here. Soul of the Forest, Incarn, and Force of Nature. Now, I very rarely take Tree of Life. Okay, and you're probably asking yourself, why? It's such a bursty, talent. You can just burst heal everybody. Yes, I agree. But a lot of the times, comps will wait to see, obviously, if you're running Tree, like, let's say, okay, here's a good example. The other day, we're playing Jungle on my Hunter, and what we were waiting for is we waited for the Druid to pop Tree, and he did. So we didn't burst until Tree was down. And once the Tree was down, the heals weren't anywhere near as big as they should be, and we were able to just burst the healer down. And yeah, you get the idea. Now, I do see some druids take this when they're up against, say, turbo, because they, you know, it's a lot of pressure. But once again, if they're smart, they'll just wait for tree to drop, and then they'll burst you down. So be very careful. So what I like to do is either go Soul of the Forest, Force of Nature. Now, let's go back to that. Say Force of Nature, you pop 3 treants, okay? And they will heal for every 3 seconds. They just constantly spam Healing Touch. Now, why would you take this? Okay, so Turbo Cleave, Walking Dead, anything that has a Purgy class that will constantly purge your hots. I like to take Force of Nature because when one of the DPS is getting trained, I can place these in the middle of the arena and get myself some distance, because they will constantly heal my team without me having to worry about continuously putting hots back on the targets that are just simply going to get purged off, allowing me to get some distance to sort of keep my team alive. Now, another reason I would take this against high CC comps, like, you know, RMD. If I feel like I'm going to get CC'd a lot, I can take this, just sort of those emergency heals while I'm sort of having to dodge the CCs and line of sight mages and things like that. That's one of the reasons why I take these guys. Now, Soul of the Forest is a huge talent. Now, when I say huge, it's huge if you know how to use it properly. Now, I will show you how to use this later on. Basically, as you can read there, it gives you a sort of a buff to certain spells once you use Swift Mend. And this it basically gives you a burst heal every 15 seconds. And once again, I'll show you how to use that later. So yeah, those are the 2 that I take, Force of Nature and Soul of the Forest. Now, 75, Mighty Bash, Ursula's Vortex, and Incap Roar. Now, I only ever use Mighty Bash or Incap. Reason being is Mighty Bash is just a quick stun you can get for a clone. So you can come out of stealth, bash a target into a clone. Or vice versa, if your DPS needs to lock down a target, you can go stun the DPS and clone off somewhere else. Now, Incap Roar is, let's say we're going up against if I'm with, I should say, a very sort of stun heavy comp like RMD. Now, I would take Incap, so that way I don't DR with my rogues stuns. You know, it's very situational, but I basically stay with Mighty Bash. Now, level 90, I always stay with Heart of the Wild, but sometimes I do swap out for Nature's Vigil when I'm going with Force of Nature. It just helps me get a little bit more damage out when my little guys here are casting heals and whatnot. I don't always take it, and I know you're saying Heart of the Wild, 6-minute cooldown. Trust me, this is a lifesaver, especially when you're getting into dampening. If your game's gone into dampening and you feel like your heals, because you are basically a hot class, so you're doing heals over time, and when you pop Heart of the Wild, when dampening's on, it basically brings you back up to be able to heal your team to get the win. And trust me, I've used this when we were at probably about, say, 30% dampening, and it's helped me keep my team alive, and we've won the game. Okay, so that's basically it. And as you can read there, it dramatically increases your healing. But here's another thing too: able to tank. Okay, if you feel that you're getting burst down really hard, you pop Bear with Heart of the Wild, you become literally a tank. You're able to mitigate a lot of that damage to help you. That is if you can't LOS these targets. It's just one of those lifesavers. Okay, and now your last talents here. The only talent I take is Germination. Simply because it allows you to have 2 rejuves on the target at any one time. Just like that. That's it. I'm not even going to go over the other 2. That's what we take. And okay, that is basically all the talents that I take and reason why. Now let it move on to glyphs. Okay guys, here we are at our glyphs. And what glyphs do I use? Now, I'm going to call this my default glyph set. Now this is just for arenas. I can do another guide for RBGs if you guys want to, but this is just for arenas. When I say default, I just stick with Master Shapeshifter, my Cyclone, and my Bark Skin. Now, Shapeshifter is really good for comps that will keep you slowed constantly, like, you know, your mages will keep that, or DKs will have that Chillbanes that keeps you slowed. This allows you to switch out of your your Shapeshift without using any mana, and trust me, if you're trying to get away, you're going to try and Shapeshift to break your to break any slows. So for those that you don't know, every time you shift, it removes any movement and parrying effects. Okay, so this will allow you to do it without using any mana. Now, Glyph of Bark Skin, okay, especially say against Turbo Cleave, things like that. If you pop Bark Skin, it does two things. One, this glyph will allow you to reduce critical strikes hits by 25%, which is huge against those comps. All right. Now, Bark Skin itself, okay, like I said, we'll go over all this other stuff later on, but Bark Skin itself will also put Entangling Roots on the target. So, yeah. This is a huge lifesaver, and I basically leave this in all the time. That's its spot there. Okay, so having a critical hit reduction is massive. Now, Clone. Now, the ones that I do switch out are these two here, but Clone, extra 5 yards on a Cyclone is very handy, because I know you're thinking it's only 5 yards, but in arenas, it's massive. To be able to get that Clone off, because let's say you haven't got it and they're literally 2 steps away and you needed to get that Clone off, it could be the difference between win or loss. Just having that extra range on your Cyclone means that you don't have to get as close as you would normally. And yeah, so it's situational, that one. Now, what other ones do I take? I do sometimes take Blooming, which increases the heal of Life Bloom when it expires, right? But having, you know, regrowth and all that it won't refresh the duration of Life Bloom anymore. Sometimes. I don't always take that. It's just sometimes I take that. What else have we got? Regrowth. I do, depending if I really want some burst here, like some, you know, more stronger regrowths. So this one here, it'll increase the critical strike chance to basically 100%. So that way it always crits, and having done so will give you that a buff that comes along with crits. We'll go over that later. Now, there's nothing else I really take when it comes to that. There are other ones I take for RBGs. Now, minor glyphs, it's really whatever you want. Actually, one minor glyph I do take, which does help me a lot, is Sprouting Mushroom. Now, Sprouting Mushroom allows Wild Mushroom. Now, what Wild Mushroom is, it's basically an AoE heal that you put on the floor, like Shaman's Healing Rain, and that's pretty much it, I think. Okay, so, but what this does, instead of it, without it, when you highlight a target, and you press Healing Mushroom, or whatever it is, yeah, Wild Mushroom, it would basically just sprout underneath that target. Having this allows you to put it wherever you want, you know? And that's actually pretty good, because you can go in between, you go behind a pillar, you can pop Wild Growth, heal up your team. It does, what about, maybe 5k ticks every, you know, like 2 seconds? It can come in handy, trust me, especially if you want to get that, you know, AoE heal on everybody, keep everybody alive. That's why I take that. And this cheetah is basically just to give you a cheetah looking effect. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's my glyphs, guys. How about we move on to the next section? Okay, guys, now we are on to stat priority. Now, as a Resto druid, you want to focus on haste, okay? So, why is that? Haste is, where is this? Increased attack speed, spellcasting speed, and energy regeneration. Okay, now, obviously, spellcasting speed is important. But it also increases the global decreases the global cooldown. Okay, which, if you don't know what a global cooldown is, watch all my spells in the bottom bar. You see how they all spin around? That's what's known as a global cooldown. Okay. Now, it also increases the rate at which your dots tick, but importantly is getting that global cooldown down and being able to cast a clone or regrowth or everything like that a lot faster. Okay, second to that is mastery. Okay, mastery, your direct healing is increased by an additional 20%, and your direct healing spells grant an additional 20% bonus healing over 20 seconds. Now, you can see here, oh, whoops, where is it? So you've got harmony, okay? So when we do a single heal, we get harmony, and that allows me to increase my, as you can see here, increases my hots, not dots, hots. I've been playing survival for too much. Okay, so as you can see, increases the hots by 20%. We'll get into that later. All right, now, other than that, you know, critical strike, whatever. But the ones we need to focus on are haste and mastery. Haste over mastery, I should say. Now, this is my gear. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the gear. I'm not really going to talk about it. It's basically, that's what I use. Okay, so I'll highlight all the gear, and then you can copy that. You can do whatever you feel like. And yeah, so we'll go from there. So, okay, the first one we have the Mastery Multi-Strike Helmet, the Haste Spirit Necklace, the Haste Multi-Strike Shoulders, Haste Mastery Back, the Haste Mastery Chest, the Haste Mastery Wrist. Now, the weapon is the same as all of the others, Haste Spell Power Multi-Strike. The hands are Haste Mastery, Haste Versatility Waist, Critical Strike Haste Legs, Haste Multi-Strike Feet, Haste Spirit Ring 1, Haste Multi-Strike Ring 2, the Versatility Trinket, and the Versatility Freedom Trinket because I am a Night Elf. Okay, now enchants, I do haste on the neck, back, and rings. And for my weapon, it's the Bleeding Hollow, which gives you a mastery buff. And that's pretty much it for my stat priority and my gear. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to hit me up in the comments and we will have a chat about it. But other than that, let's move on. Okay guys, now we're on to macros and keybinds. Now, I don't really have many macros for this guy, girl, whatever. It's just, obviously, I've got my Cyclone to sort of clone whoever I need to clone. And I've got my Dispel, so that way I can easily dispel myself or my players. So it's basically just target Party 1, Party 2, and myself. And that's just Arena 1, Arena 2, Arena 3. Iron Bark for the same sort of effect. And the only other macro that I have used is this, like a power shifting macro. So basically when you go into bear form, right, and the exclamation mark is for if you are not in bear form already. Okay, so, right, so you're doing that, and you can just keep flicking between bear and casting Frenzied Regeneration. Because every time you go into bear form up here, you can see, right, that you get 10 rage. Okay, so when you flick it, you just keep pressing it, you keep going in and out of form. Okay, that's pretty much the only real macros that I use. Now for key binding, I basically use everything that I use is on my my Naga. So that's obviously the Razer mouse with the buttons on the side, and yeah, there's nothing real special. Like the shifting into my cat form, I bound to my mouse wheel, so that's mouse wheel down, and my bash is on the mouse wheel up. Other than that, I just have the numbers like 1 to 12 on the mouse pad. So when I go down here, so 1 to 12 on the action bar here, and then when I hold shift, that's my next bar, so 1 to 12. Now my Q and E, I use Q, E, and R I use for targeting my team without having to switch. So as you can see up here, when I use Q, it'll target myself. E is for my next party member, and R is for the third one, or the second party member, whatever. Okay, so other than that, I bind my, as you can see, my Moonfire, my Wrath to 1 and 3 because it's just above my fingers. Now the Stampeding Roar and Dash I bind to obviously C, which is just underneath the D key, and 2 for the Bash. It's just all around my fingers there. Now with S, all right, so instead of walking backwards, I've unbound that and I've bound it to changing into bear. So that way, it's, especially when you need to get into bear form to mitigate some damage, it's right there. You can just click it straight into bear form. And that's it. That's pretty much all the keybinds that I really use. Nothing special. Oh, I do have a mouse button that's on top of this one, and when I click that, it casts Soothe. But we'll get into the spells and that in the next part. But other than that, guys, there's nothing really special that I use. Pretty much straightforward, simple. And yeah, so what we will get into now is to the playstyle, sort of a rotation, the effects of different spells, and all that. So I'll see you in the next part. Okay, guys, now we're on to the part where we need to learn about how a Resto druid plays. And the first thing that I think we should go over is the types of buffs that you need to focus on to heal effectively. Now, one of those buffs was the Harmony, and the other one being Living Seed. Okay, so the Living Seed comes about when you do a crit, it'll get refreshed. Okay, so if we go into our spellbook, I'll just show you that. Living Seed. Okay, when you critical heal someone with a direct healing portion of Swift Mend, Regrowth, or Healing Touch, you'll get a Living Seed. So basically what that is if I can get it back up, right? Once they get attacked, now you can stack this, all right, as you can see, it's stacking up, right? Once they get attacked, they'll be instantly healed for that amount. Okay, so that's something to focus on. Now, Harmony increases the periodic healing of your increases the healing of your periodical spells like this. All right, so if we put Rejuvenation on us, you can see it only ticks for about 4.5k, which we don't have Harmony on. Okay, so if I put that on now, right, we've got Harmony, and I go ahead and put that on, you can see that Rejuve is now ticking for about 5.5 roughly. Okay, so you can see why it's important to keep this up. Now, as a Resto druid, you have a bajillion hots. Okay, so you've got Rejuvenation, you've got Germination, you've got Life Bloom, you've got your Regrowth, your Floor thing, your Wild Growth. Like, look at all the hots. There's hots going everywhere. Hots on everybody. Okay, so what we need to focus on is how to use these hots effectively. All right. So, for example, when I put, let me just take off all these. All right, get rid of all this, so that way we've got nothing on me. Right, so if I do the Rejuvenation and Germination, you can see they're both ticking about for 4.5, all right? So we need to utilize this with Genesis. Okay, what Genesis does, it consumes the duration that you have left on the Germination and Rejuvenation. So for example, if I do this, put them both up and then hit Genesis, you can see it heals me for about 12k, right? Not too bad, but you can have it a lot better. Okay, so let me put Harmony on me, right? And I put them back on, and then I hit Genesis. Okay, that's good. Went up to about 15k. But once again, you can have it a lot better. Now, this comes in with the use of Soul of the Forest, okay? Because it increases the next Rejuvenation by 100%, okay? So I'll show you what that means. So we do this, right? But before we do that, you can stack your thing. See how now it's up to 20? 17k without... I'm just trying to show you how to use Genesis effectively, okay? So now we do this, right? We hit Swift Mend, and then we hit Genesis, and you can see 30k, right? That's 5 ticks of 30k. Now, obviously, I'm not in a PvP situation, so these are healing for quite a lot. Obviously, when you get into PvP, it gets cut down. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is the basics of Genesis and how to use it effectively with Soul of the Forest. Okay, now, another thing that we need to look at is how do we use Nature Swiftness? And how do you see those druids getting such big heals out? Okay, so once again, Soul of the Forest. Increases the healing touch and regrowth, right? Increases your healing by regrowth by 100%. Okay, regrowth. This one here, okay? So, what we're looking to doing now, so we're getting, either you or your teammates getting bursted quite hard, so you need to get that one big heal out before you can get Genesis rolling again. So what you need to do is, you need to have your hots on, right? So what I like to do is I hit Swift Mend, Nature Swiftness, then Regrowth for one massive heal, okay? And that can take someone from 0 to hero. Okay, so you hit, obviously have your Rejuvenate on, so you go Swift Mend, Nature Swiftness, and you heal yourself. So that's 91k, okay? And that was non-crit, okay? But obviously when you crit, it can be anywhere between, say, 120 to say 180k in arenas, okay? And I've seen that hit quite hard, especially if you've got buffed with mastery and all that other jazz. Now, that's one way to burst heal. Other way being, like I showed you before, keeping your hots up, Swift Mend, Rejuvenation again before you press Genesis, and then Genesis. 32, 32, 32, 32. So you can see there's two ways to burst heal as a resto. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the other situation is, as a resto, you're very mobile, right? You can get from place to place quite fast because obviously you can keep shifting. As you can see, that little effect there means I'm shifting in and out of form real fast, and removing roots, snares, all that other stuff, allowing you to get behind pillars, okay? Now, one of the biggest things as a resto druid and your mobility is Displace the Beast, okay? Now, I see a lot of restos out there using it wrong. Now, how can someone use it wrong, you're saying? Well, I wouldn't say it's wrong in a sense, but there's a better way to do it. And how I like to do it is, let's say a warrior is training you, okay? And this is the pillar just here, right? Now, what I like to do is, instead of just trying to blink over to the next pillar, right? And having the warrior just simply charge on over, is do it backwards, okay? So what I say is, all right, the pillar where I want to be is here, and the other pillar is over there. But what I want to do is I want to go over here, quickly turn around, and then blink behind him behind this pillar, okay? And I say 90% of the time, the warrior is over here going, hold on, what the? You know what I mean? Having to turn around real quick and try and chase you. By that time, you're behind the pillar, getting yourself some heals off, and so on. That's how I like to displace her, okay? Because if I try and displace her over behind a pillar here, chances are they're going to catch me, or, throw a stun or something like that. It's just an easier way to, sorry about that, I'm hitting my mic and destroying everything. It's just an easier way to sort of get away and get yourself safe. So once again, quickly blink behind them, over behind the pillar, okay? That's just how I like to do it. Okay, so other things we need to do is positioning, right? So we have ourselves, where's the target? Who can we heal? All right, so this is our heal target, right? And they're fighting each other here. What you don't want to do, and I see it a lot, is stand out here in the open and just do these ones. Healing, yay, healing, healing. Stop it, stop it, stop it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be standing right in the middle of the open. That's just stupid. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get yourself in a nice position to do two things. You want to be able to LOS any incoming CC, like for example, you want to be able to get some hots off without getting a trap thrown at your face, so you can obviously LOS. You want to be able to LOS any sheeps that are coming. So like, he's about to poly, you can stay behind here, come back out, do some heals, stay here, heals, heals. You know what I mean, okay? Position yourself in a way that you can heal your team and also LOS any CCs that are incoming. Alright? Now, the way I like to play is more defensively than offensively. For example, like, okay, so my hunter has just gotten a trap. I don't want to come from my safe zone simply just to run over here and get a clone off for the sake of getting a clone off. Because what that does is it brings you out, right? And a lot of druids sort of tunnel vision. Oh god, we've got to clone, we've got to clone. Okay? Only do it if it's safe to do so. For example, let's put a situation. So mage is just here where this thing is. So right, so that's where the mage is. This is where the trap target is. We're doing threes, okay? So trap target here and their healer's somewhere over there, right? Your hunter's just gotten a, you're LOSing the mage. So you're just here LOSing the mage from polys. Got the trap off. And then what you don't want to do is get to the point where you'll come out of your safe zone to try and, you know, get a clone off, only for you to be now in range of the mage, okay? You want to make sure that you're in a place where you can safely get a clone off, okay? Now, most of the time you can juke, you know, kicks and stuff like that, but you don't want to have to be in that position where you have to waste time juking kicks just to get a clone off, okay? So it's very situational. Make sure that you're in a position where you can get that CC off safely, okay? Even if it's coming over and sort of, you know, bashing the off target and then getting a clone on the actual target that you want, something like that. So play safely as a resto, okay? Now, when it comes to CCs, what can we do as a resto druid to stop incoming CCs, all right? Well, for example, if that said mage, right? So we were talking about the mage over here, right? So you can hear poly coming in, all right? You can simply shift it and that'll screw the poly up, okay? Now, what else can we do? All right, so, okay, this is the hunter right here. All right, you see a hunter coming in for a trap, okay? The best way as a resto druid to dodge traps, never let a hunter, well, it depends on how they play. Some hunters still like to go with trap launcher, but for example, me, I like to jump on the target and drop a trap in their face and then run away. If you see a hunter coming over, you can always put your Fury Fire on them to slow them, but you can displace them, right? Make sure you are away from everybody, okay? Keep mobile. That's the best way to play as a resto druid. Keeping your mobility up, keeping out of harm's way, so you don't get CC'd and you don't allow your team to be CC'd, okay? Now, what else do we talk about? Heart of the Wild, okay? So Heart of the Wild is basically your oh shit moment. Okay, crap, my whole team's going down. I need to save them. Bam, you pop that up. Okay, so let's pop Heart of the Wild now. Let's go back and do that Genesis move on myself, right? Genesis, hit Swiftmen, Rejuvenation, and then now hit Genesis. We're up to, you know, almost 45k, okay? You know, you can hit Swiftmed, Rejuvenation, blah, I'm not even saying, whatever, okay? Nature Swiftness with a Regrowth, Regrowth, you saw that it popped me up. But now, we can also do more damage, and we can tank a lot more, okay? So we can go in there and start, you know, killing people, blah, blah, blah. Not that you would, but you get the idea. Especially if, like, Turbo Cleave is just pounding on you, you can jump into bear form and keep yourself up like this. You can see how much you're healing in bear form, just jumping in and out of it. You get the idea, okay? That's your oh shit moment, and you should only ever use Heart of the Wild in that situation if you feel like everyone's going to die and you need to keep them up, okay? So let's talk about when you open. Okay, I'm trying to get through this as quick as I can so this guy doesn't go on for 10 years, all right? So when you start the match, you want to hot your team up, okay? So Regrowth, you know, get as many hots as you can up, you know, maybe even a Wild Growth, depending what you want to do. Then you want to get into stealth, okay? Make sure you stay in stealth for as long as you can, right? Your hots are out there healing them up, and you want to wait for that right moment. Now, what I like to do as I come out of stealth, not just simply come out, try and get a clone off, because as you come in stealth, when you clone, Gladiator Lost doesn't pick it up, so they won't hear it coming in. Get a clone off on either the DPS or the enemy healer, then go into healing, okay? That's the most effective way to utilize, you know, your coming out of stealth party. I don't know, but you understand. All right, so that's just one of the ways that I like to open. And then make sure you're in a position where you open that you won't get immediately CC'd or, you know, switched to. Now, bear form itself, okay? Bear form I like to use to, you know, pull stealthies out. Let's say a rogue's just popped stealth. You can use your Thrash, that's an AoE hit, and you can put a bleed on the targets, right? So especially if you're getting trained, this is your main way to mitigate damage. Okay, now let's say, okay, what do you do if you are getting trained? Okay, you don't want to sit here and just tank the damage the whole time. That's just stupid. What you want to do, let's say a rogue is training you and they've just got red buff. Okay, you want to CC them. Okay, put Fury Fire on, you know, displace the beast away, maybe even get a clone off if you can. Okay, once you've done that, then you're in a more stable situation to, you know, heal up your party. You want to use Bear just to mitigate that incoming damage with, you know, Bark Skin or Iron Bark, depending on what you want to do. You don't want to be sitting in Bear form that whole time, basically just tanking everything. Okay, that's not very effective, and it'll eventually bite you in the butt. Okay, so use it for those oh crap moments, just to get that burst damage mitigated, for you to find your, you know, all right, I'm going to get over there, but I'm going to cut them over here, and then bam, get away, get some heals off behind another pillar. Okay, all about mobility. Now, what else have we got? You know, add some damage into your players. You know, help your DPS out by either going into cat form. You know, I'm not saying, this is just some things that you can do. Don't sit there in cat form trying to DPS the whole game, right? But you can do these things, right? You've got your cat form that you can do. You've also got your Moonfire and your Wrath to add some extra damage, you know, like a Pally does Denounce, things like that. This is what you can do as a Resto druid. Now, sort of lastly, too, don't forget about entangling roots. I know a lot of restos out there don't really utilize it much, but for example, warriors, if you're up against a warrior and a healer, use your entangling roots on the warrior, because if you can stop that warrior from moving, you know, that's going to do a world of... And plus, I play a warrior from time to time, and I hate it when I'm getting, you know, rooted down all the time. It really a pain in the butt. And speaking of warriors, this is an important spell, Soothe. Okay, Soothe is great against, say, Fury warriors and maybe, you know, Prot warriors, because they focus on rage. Using this, when you see their rage buff come up, in rage or whatever it is, use that. It'll take it straight off. And it's awesome for, you know, reducing their damage. It really is. And that's just a sort of another little tip that I've found along my journeys. I'm not sure what else. Let me just have a quick look for something else that might be of benefit to you guys. Remember guys, if I've missed something in here and, you know, you're saying, you know, but how do I do this? Hit me up in the comments. I'll talk to you guys. I'll help you with as much as I know. Okay, so once again, I'm in no way professional resto druid. I just know how to play it now, and yeah, and you guys wanted to know. So I mean, there's other little tips and tricks too that you can do. So you notice that you have Growl. You can use Growl to pull pets off your DPS. So like a hunter pet is sitting on your DPS, you can Growl, make them come to you. Things like that. Little tips and tricks that you can pick up along the way. Okay, so I mean, like, you've got Iron Bark. Make sure you utilize that when you need to. Don't just put it up for the sake of putting it up. It has got a 1 minute cooldown, so you can utilize that quite effectively throughout your matches. Okay, so lastly, it being a Night Elf, right? Being able to get back into Prowl, like what I like to do is I like to break combat, go out and get back into Prowl, allowing me to get a drink off, okay? Now, getting these drinks, okay, these mineral waters, you can pick them up from an inn. If you've got an inn in your garrison, you can come to this person somewhere. What can I do? Is it you? No. There's someone in here that sells these mineral waters somewhere. I don't know. Probably downstairs. Anyway, but there's also a person in Storm Shield that sells these as well. And trust me, I've utilized this a lot, and it's helped me get back to full mana. And as a Resto druid, you're able to break combat quite easily. When I say that, you can, you know, get yourself a lot of distance quite easy. Alright, so that's pretty much all that I can think of right now, other than like using Stampeding Raw and Dash effectively. You know, don't just use it because you've just gotten snared. Oh crap, I've got to just get out of snare, stuff like that. Don't just use that. use it for those moments where you need to either catch up to your, say you've been hit off the bridge on Blade's Edge, and you want to get back up onto the fight to help your teammate, things like that. Okay, but other than that, guys, I haven't really got much else for you guys. I might do, a lot of you guys are asking me to do more resto videos like arenas. I will definitely do that, and I might do some post commentary to help you better understand like how I play. But you know, other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this Resto Guide Druid. Once again, if you guys have seen something that I didn't do, instead of leaving a hate comment, how about just leaving something to help other people out? Say, look, you know, Raven, you did this wrong, but this is how I like to play, and we can discuss it and help all these other Resto Druids out as well. Okay? Now, yeah, I guess other than that, guys, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. If you do like this guide, let me know by hitting that thumbs up, so that way I know that you like it and I can do more of these. And if you are new to my channel, smack that subscribe button, guys, because I'm going to do as many videos as I can for you guys in the future. And until next time, my awesome people, keep on sniping, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.